there, I'm Friday O'Leary, and I'm here today to read to you the next chapter of Mr. Gum and the Biscuit Billionaire. Now, the next chapter is called On the Trail of the Money, and this is all about Polly and Friday looking for those dastardly Billy William III and Mr. Gum who've stolen the Biscuit Billionaire's biscuit tin of money. So here we go. Friday twirled his imaginary detective's moustache wearily. "I admit it," he said, as he and Polly sat eating lunch in the Chapter 7 cafe. "This case is too tough, even for me." They had been searching all morning, but they hadn't found any robbers, not even one. "Oh, Friday," said Polly, looking despondently at her jacket potato. It wasn't the jacket potato's fault. She just felt despondent anyway. "Oh, Polly," said Friday, looking despondently at his jacket potato because he'd wished he'd ordered the pasta instead. And together they sat there looking despondently at jacket potatoes. But suddenly Polly sat bolt upright. "Hey!" she exclaimed. "What's that flapping outside the window?" "It's just a £20 note," said Friday despondently. "I wish I'd ordered the pasta." "But don't you get it?" explained Polly. "It must be the trail of the robbers at last." "Hot wigwams, you're right," shouted Friday. "To the Allencopter! To the motorbike!" And leaving their lunches untouched, they ran outside. Now, at the next table, Jonathan Ripples and Martin Launderette watched them go. "I wonder what all that's about," said Jonathan Ripples. "Never mind that," said Martin eagerly. "Try your pea soup." "Ugh," said Jonathan R., swallowing down a spoonful. "Someone's put torn up pieces of newspaper in it." "Who'd do a thing like that?" said Martin Launderette innocently, taking out his red notebook. "Another victory," he wrote. The pea soup joke was hilarious. Now, Friday's motorbike was parked outside on the high street. "Hop on, Polly," he shouted, starting the bike up with a roar. "Don't roar like that," said Polly. "It scares me." "Sorry," said Friday, and stopped roaring. He revved the engine and off they zoomed. Before too long they came across another banknote blowing on the wind. Soon after that they saw one stuck in a hedge, and soon after that they saw one stuck in a pop star's haircut. "We're on the right track," cried Polly. On and on they went, and all the while they saw money, 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 flapping on the wind or stuck in bushes or being eaten by magpies and tramps. Soon they left the town far, far behind, and Polly began to get a little bit worried. They were riding through strange fields and twisted up trees and scarecrows with no heads. Sinister sounds like "yin," "coobles," and "beef" rang out from the undergrowth, and who knew what creatures lurked therein? Storm clouds were gathering, and the day had grown dark and threatening. "Where are we, Frides?" Polly whispered. "I'm not sure, little miss," replied Friday, "but have faith. The universe is a mysterious place, and everything happens for a reason, except for stinging nettles. They're just a nuisance. But not to worry, there's none around here." Now, Friday had barely said these knowledgeable words when the motorbike broke down in the middle of a great big patch of stinging nettles. Huge ones they were, towering higher than Polly's head and full of bad pains for everyone who tried to mess with them. "Brummigans!" exclaimed Friday. "We'll have to walk from here." "Oh, look at all them nettlers," replied Polly, "just a-waiting to sting us to bits, though we done nothing wrong to them." "Fear not, little miss," said Friday, heaving Polly onto his shoulders. Here we are, look. On the shoulders. Friday O'Leary. Here he is. Though I'm old, my legs are strong, and ow! Ouch! Ow! You brave, brave man, said Polly, from her position of safety above the treacherous plants. It was a bit unlucky that Friday had chosen to wear shorts that day, and no shoes or socks. But there you go, that's life. Ow! Oh, blimey! Ow! Grimaced Friday as he picked his way through the nettles. They seemed to go on forever, but he kept at it because he was a force for good, and his heart was true, and his feet were bare. At last they reached the edge of the field, and there Friday collapsed like a broken gypsy in a scrubby grass. Go on without me, he gasped, his legs covered in white, painful blisters. I'll be all right. I won't leave you, Friday, said Polly, cradling his head in her arms. I'll stay with you forever. Just then they heard a voice coming from somewhere below. Oi! Caterpillar Joe! Oh, I can't wait to escape to France with all that money and what we stole, someone cackled. It's the robbers, whispered Friday urgently. Now, go, Polly, go and save the day with your Polliness. Chapter 8. Smuggler's Cove. So, with one last glance back at Friday, Polly pushed through the long, tall grass and found herself on top of a wind-swept cliff. It was Hangman's Leap, and lordy, it was more wretched than ever before. You remember those rocks that looked a bit like nasty faces? Well, they were still there. In fact, there were even more of them than before. Don't ask me how, but there were. And those manky seagulls with one eye and stuff, there were more of them too, because they'd been up all night breeding new and even more disgusting ones. Some of the new seagulls smoked cigarettes and had tattoos on their wings. Altogether, it was a frightful scene, made even worse by the rain and the dark, thundery skies. But Polly had work to do. She peered over the cliff edge and could just make out two tiny figures on the beach below, striking evil poses. Those flippin' roodellallies, she muttered, and without further thought she started climbing down the cliff. Now down on the rocks, Mr. Gum was looking out to sea with a powerful telescope he'd made from a jar of mustard, a rolled-up magazine, and a powerful telescope. There he is! He shouted gleefully as a small wooden fishing boat appeared on the horizon. It's Monsieur Bellybutton! Are you sure? Asked Billy William. But at that moment the wind changed direction and the most horrendous stench came to their noses. Oh, it smelt like a zoo had married a gigantic fart, only it was worse than that. Oh, yes, said Mr. Gum, and his eyebrows curling up and turning crispy with the pong. It's him, all right. Bonjour, Monsieur Gum. Bonjour, Monsieur Billy, shouted Bellybutton as he rode into Smuggler's Cove. Now, you know in those cartoons when they do wavy lines to show that something smells really bad, like maybe there's a rotten fish head or something, and they do wavy lines coming off it. Well, I'm not lying, but Monsieur Bellybutton actually had those wavy lines coming off him in real life. He'd never once taken a bath, and he was quite an old man. Just think about it. There he is, with the wavy lines coming off in real life. Bonjour, the two villains cried in pleasure. You see, incredible as it was, they actually liked the smell of Monsieur Bellybutton. Said Mr. Gum, inhaling long and hard. He's smelling even riper than last year. Lovely. Now Polly was nearly at the bottom of the cliff when the smell of Bellybutton hit her like an invisible boxing glove filled with gorgonzola. She fell to her knees, clutching her nose in agony. But even so, The smell found its way in, bringing tears to her eyes and clouding her thoughts. "Oh, I don't know what that's about," said Polly, through gritted teeth, "but them robbers, they need sorting out." Determinedly, she stuffed a bunch of daisies up her nostrils and continued on. The further down she climbed, the stronger the smell became. The daisies shriveled up and turned brown. Seagulls fell out of the sky, landing with thumps all around her. But still, she did not falter. And that's what polliness is all about. Finally, she reached the bottom of the cliff. The wind changed direction once more, and she could breathe again, which is very helpful for living. And now she saw where the stink was coming from. A smelster Frenchman with wavy lines coming off him in real life was helping Mr. Gum into a mucky fishing boat encrusted with barnacles. Billy William was already on board, the biscuit tin clutched to his scrawny chest. "Hey, robbers!" shouted Polly. "I'm arresting you in the name of the laws." "You!" spat Mr. Gum, spinning round in fury. "How did you find us, you meddler? We never left no tracks to follow." But even as he spoke, a tenor flew into the air, and Mr. Gum knew the truth of Billy Williams' laziness at putting lids on biscuit tins properly. "You muncher!" shouted Mr. Gum, slapping the careless butcher around the chops. "I told you to sort out that lid." "Robbers, your game is up," said Polly sternly. "And don't you even think you can float off to France and muck everything up there over there too? I'm not having it." "Oh, yeah?" sneered Mr. Gum. "What are you going to do about it? You're just a stupid little girl, and you can't do nothing against powerful kings like me and Billy." Like lightning, Mr. Gum reached down and grabbed a heavy fishing net, dripping with slime and dead lobsters. Running up the beach, he chucked it at Polly, and before she knew what was happening, she was down on the sands, buried under its filthy weight. Struggling against it was no good. It was just one of those nets you can't beat with struggling. "Au revoir!" shouted Mr. Gum as Monsieur Bellybutton started to row away. "Au revoir!" replied Polly. Hey, come back here, you crimers!" But the boat was soon a tiny speck on the horizon, and the day was lost. Now, how long Polly lay under that net, she didn't know. Was it minutes? Hours? Years? Probably not years. Anyway, there she lay, helpless and crying with rage. "Oh, Friday could be done up on that cliff, and them robbers has escaped, and I hates it," she sobbed. "It ain't fair, and the world's rubbish, and I don't care about nothing no more, so shut up." Eventually, she had no more tears left to shed. She lay there, exhausted, and her eyes they did close, and soon she was dreaming the strangest dream. Alan Taylor was there, and he was nibbling away at the net with his sharp little teeth. Nibbling, nibbling, nibbling. A dead lobster fell on his head, but he just pushed it off and went on nibbling. Polly could hear his electric muscles whirring away, and she could see his kind, brave face full of concentration and raisins. Nibble, nibble, nibble. Whir, whir, whir. Nibble, nibble, nibble. Whir, whir, whir. Nibble, whir, nibble, whir. Nibble, nibble, nibble. Whir, whir, whir. Polly opened one eye, and there was the Biscuit Billionaire himself. It wasn't no dream after all. He was standing proudly on the sands, with bits of net in his teeth, his doughy body protected from the rain by a miniature Superman cape, which made him look like Batman. "A.T.!" gasped Polly, climbing out of the net. "Is it really you?" "It's me, all right," said he. "I've come to my senses and got out of bed, and now to catch those robbers. Hurrah!" But how are we going to get some? Asked Polly. For we haven't no boat and we can't just swim out there, you insaner. No, said Alan Taylor, but I know someone who can. He gave a high-pitched whistle, and suddenly a face Polly knew well appeared from behind a rock. Not just a face on its own, though. That would be horrible. It was attached to a body Polly knew well, too. I can't believe it, she cried, running up to her fat golden friend. For it was Jake, that massive whopper of a dog. Come to the rescue. At last. Yay! And that's the end of that chapter. How exciting. Alan Taylor and Jake have come to help Polly. Well, I wonder what is going to happen in chapter 9, which is called Hooray for Friendship. You'll have to tune in next time to listen to the next chapter of Mr. Gum and the Biscuit Billionaire. Thank you for listening.